Welcome back to the adventures of Navy pilot Jakerthesnak. When we last left our pilot, a group of SBD-3 bombers needed escorting to the suspected area of the Japanese fleet.
30, altitude 01.
This mission has pilot Jaker flying number 4 in the second wing taking off from the USS Lexington. This mission is a very long one, and it's at the maximum range of the F-4 Wildcat. After a grueling 40-minute escort flight, the enemy finally shows its face just as we near the fleet.
Fighters, 4 o'clock.
The leader decides to dive in for the low zero, prompting everyone else to follow him. And I can't help but be reminded by a specific Pixar movie. Being last in line to the target, I figured I wouldn't have a chance at him, so I focused on keeping my energy and altitude high so I was able to zoom back up after the attack. And wouldn't you know it, right after all of our fighter planes give up their height and energy,
Attention, fighters, 6 o'clock high.
a group of Zeros show up high. With the enemy fighters having such a high altitude advantage, the commanders come up with a cunning and terrible plan. The plan is to have the second wing, 5, 6, 7, and 8, be attacked by the Japanese fighters and force them to dive down and lose their energy advantage. Being number 8 certainly has its disadvantages. When I finally realize what the plan is, I can't help but share Squidward's thoughts on a different plan.
That idea may just be crazy enough to get us all killed!
We get into position and the Zeros dive in. But I'm not sure if the flight commander was quite ready to dive in on us, and they all overshoot us.
Heading 0, altitude 40.
The commander immediately orders us to follow them. We're going to do the same plan again, except allow them to attack from out of the sun. This is the worst plan in all of history. Here come the Zeros. They dive in and get guns on my friendlies. And I decide to break formation and give up on this stupid plan and dive after them.
Beginning our attack run. Enemy ships, commence the attack. Attention! This is to
The Zeros have been distracted long enough for the SBDs to get their attack runs started, but we're still in trouble.
Roger, beginning our attack. Heading 0, altitude.
The Zeros dove down and
40.
traded their altitude for speed, and I'm trying to keep high for the altitude when they zoom back up.
Commence the attack. This is second flight. Copy. Attacking.
In fact, here's a Zero now with an oil leak. He's going to be my best shot to get a kill here.
Beginning our attack. This is 8. Roger, beginning our attack. Heading 060. Altitude.
He's slow and I've got a good shot lined up.
Over. What the hell? Stay with your leader.
I get a further burst into him and believe I see him catch fire and let him go. I look back expecting to see a ball of flame, but the Zero's gotten away. And then, much to my surprise, I look around and see that the Zeros have been dispatched. They've been taken care of. The plan actually worked.
Attention. Good fire. Good 9 o'clock.
Though the plan may have worked, it was still incredibly dangerous, and I'll have some words from my commanding officer later.
I got one. land.
Nearing my 100th minute on the mission, the unthinkable happens. As we're approaching the carrier, my engine stalls and I'm out of gas. Unfortunately, I still had autopilot on at this time and it pulled me high into the sky. Not that it made a big difference because there's only one thing you can do in this situation.
Going around. This is the tower. Go ahead. You're cleared for landing. Red 3. This is the tower. You are not cleared to land. Abort. Abort. This is 4. Going around. Red 3. Requesting permission to land. You are not cleared to land. Abort. Abort. This is 3. I'm going around.
Pilot Jaker's parachute safely opens,
You are not cleared to land.
and the F-4 Wildcat plunges into the sea.
This is 5. Going around. Red leader. This is the tower. You are not cleared to land. Abort. Abort. This is 1.
Though the last mission was incredibly dangerous for Pilot Jaker, the SBDs were successful in hitting their target, sinking the carrier Shoho. The aircraft carrier Shoho was sunk just as it was in real life. After being hit with 11 or more 1,000-pound bombs and a few torpedoes, the Shoho sank within the hour the attack started. After the attack, only 203 of the carrier's 834-man crew survived. A short swim later and Pilot Jaker gets back to the carrier. As soon as he's dry, Pilot Jaker finds Lieutenant Commander John and lets him know about his disdain for the previous tactics used in the last sortie. The Lieutenant Commander agrees that the tactics were too dangerous and pulls him off the next flight, going in his place instead. Lieutenant Commander offers a challenge to Pilot Jaker, letting him fly in a wing of 2 with him in the next flight to see who's the better pilot. As expected, the Japanese are not taking the loss of their carrier sitting down and have sent a return attack.
Attention, forward. 1 o'clock.
The Wildcats scramble as the enemies pour in. We take off away from the carrier and are immediately vectored back towards it as the attack begins. The Wildcats that took off before us have drawn in the fighters that were covering escort, and we hurry to assist them.
I got it. Hang on. I'm bailing out. This is 2. This is 5. I'm taking hits. I got him. Anybody? Get him off me.
Another one of the Wildcats in the earlier flights helps take care of the enemy fighters that were on another one of the earlier Wildcats. And now we're free to engage the bombers after their attack. Pilot Jaker and the Lieutenant Commander come across a group of 3 bombers running home as quick as they can.
Number 1. Congratulations.
If the pilots keep below or level with the bombers, the enemy gunners cannot attack them.
5. I got one.
The first bomber goes down with a fuel leak, unable to make it home.
Heading 030. Altitude 05. Over. What the hell? Stay with your leader. Congratulations. Stay with your leader. Stay on course. What's wrong with you?
The second bomber takes severe engine damage and doesn't make it much further.
This is 3. He's going down. Congratulations!
The third bomber takes an extensive amount of gunfire and goes down in flames.
Congratulations!
While that sortie ends about as quickly as it started, it's not due to a lack of success. VF-3 pilots come home with 10 kills after scrambling only 6 Wildcats. None of the aircraft carriers were seriously damaged, but a destroyer has been lost. The USS Sims sank in the last battle, just as it did in real life. In the real Battle of Coral Sea, The destroyer was hit by 3 bombs, broke in half, and sank immediately. This killed all but 14 of her 192-man crew. Well, that's 2 more exciting sorties in the book for our pilot Jaker. At the end of May 6th, Jaker has his 5th confirmed kill and is now an ace. Not only is he a new ace, but he's been awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal, and has been promoted to ensign, or ensign depending on how your country pronounces it. With the newest promotion, Pilot Jaker will now have more control over his missions and hopefully be able to save his USS Lexington. And his skills at his newfound position will be put to the test at his very next battle. The Japanese have sent an even bigger attack force to avenge the Shoho's sinking. Stay tuned for the next battle.